hunting Mr. Jesberger phone call. I didn't say catching, I said hunting.
I was just gonna say, was it 6?
Right, yeah.
No, unfortunately not.
Do we know even what state he's in?
No, I know the states he was in. He supposedly was in California and Texas and I think North Carolina. Who knows?
He's doing a tour of them all.
Yes. Maybe he's trying to do all the state capitals, all the favorite jails. It's hard to say.
We just had a public comment on this hiring of personal attorneys. And do you have anything to add or?
Well, and I don't have the current draft.
Oh.
I have one with a bunch of scribbles on it. So, members of the commission, this was my suggestion, to do this resolution. And as we talked about earlier, we had, at one point, we intended to include this in the settlement with the sheriff's office, and didn't do that because at that time, it wasn't part of the agreement that had been reached, so it made more sense to just do it outside of the agreement. So the idea here is simply to put an end to the kind of litigation against ourselves. The Abraham Lincoln, quoting the Bible, said, "A house divided against itself shall not stand." And there's a lot of wisdom to that. So the idea here would be to just emphasize from the county commission to all aspects of Broward County government that basically what the law says. The law says that the county commission directs civil lawsuits. The commission has the authority to settle claims and prosecute claims. The commission directs the county attorney in terms of representing the county for civil issues. The county has the duty to indemnify or defend a county entity or employee who gets sued for their official capacity, not some personal thing that happened outside of work, but for official capacity. The county attorney is the legal advisor, and the day will come, I would say it's highly likely the day will come when there will be something that will either be a workload issue or an expertise issue or something that will be outside of what I can handle. In that case, the county commission has the authority to retain an outside counsel, and even in that case, I would still have a regular consultation role with that person or persons at law firm. So with that being the reality of what the law establishes, then I just ask the commission to affirm what has really been the conversation in terms of turning our page to a day of no lawsuits between entities of the county, no lawsuits by officers or whoever against the county, and certainly if that comes, that the county is not on the hook to pay their lawyer. And so it's directing that the county attorney is the legal advisor for the county government. I have obviously the workload at this point I would say is over 80% criminal and about 20% civil. That may change depending on, I guess, as situations arise, but generally for the criminal work, I work directly with the sheriff's office and often directly with deputies, and so I wouldn't want the county to say you have to do, everything has to go through the sheriff just because, you know, if I'm working with an individual deputy on a criminal case, then we've got it set up pretty well in place at this point is how we communicate. But for other civil issues, I think it would make sense for those civil issues to come through from a head of the department to me, not as a way to stifle people from asking for help, but just kind of for the sake of clarity of communication and stuff, that if there's a road problem or there's a sanitation problem or whatever the problem may be, that head of that department is not only aware of the problem, but saying, yeah, let's go get help from the county attorney. If the event that there becomes some kind of a whistleblower complaint or something like that, there's already statutes that provide protections for that, so we're not saying you can never seek help if there's something going on that's needs to be investigated further. And then that's the first part, just saying let's make it clear. The second part is the county commissioners and the department will not seek or retain outside counsel unless one of the following. And the first one is the commission says, yeah, we're going to contract for an outside attorney. Or the second one would be the commission says to some department, yes, you're approved out contract for an outside attorney. And what I recommend there is anytime we do that, we actually say, here's what we're willing to pay. So that it's not just a completely open-ended, multi-year process. And then the third would be if we're just really doing something wrong, if the commission is doing something wrong, if I'm doing something wrong, and there's something's rotten in Denmark and somebody has to get help, then I put in a provision here, a mechanism where a county entity or person or employee, whoever could go and say, I'm gonna get another opinion. And by doing that, the Attorney General will exercise a supervisory control over the county attorney, so they can go to the Attorney General and present their case, and the Attorney General's office may say, yeah, he's crazy, he's wrong, you need to get another lawyer. Well, or if the county commission is doing something completely wrong, then the MACO could provide an opinion saying, yeah, your county commission's wrong. And if they can do that, then they should have, not only have the right, but have the duty, I think, to get an outside counsel and come in and try and straighten us out. I think it's highly unlikely that's gonna happen. That's certainly not my approach to anything, but if that happens, then the right thing to do would be to help pay the expense of fixing whatever we're doing wrong. But without, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
so other than those, I think it makes sense for the commission to say up front, in no other circumstance, if we haven't contracted or we haven't authorized you to go contract for outside counsel, or we're not in the middle of some corrupt practices where justice requires you to do it, in no other circumstance should any entity, person, department, or arm of the county government be allowed to go contract for an outside attorney and expect the county to pay for it. And that's reasonable. That's what any business would do. That's what any other county, any other arm of state government would do. Because if we do that, we're just kind of in this constant bidding war against ourselves, really. And who pays for it? The citizens of the county pay for it. And then the last thing is just recognizing the contribution and the advice of MACO, both not just its legal counsel, but its policy personnel, its financial personnel. But even in that situation, though, if we're getting legal advice from MACO, I need to be in the loop on that. And Mike Seastead and I have talked about this a couple times, and he's very good about saying, if people start calling me and want legal opinions, the first thing I do is say, have you talked to your county attorney? Are they in the loop on this? So I think that's just reinforcing the practice that MACO already has. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. I think we are all aware of what gave rise to this and why I feel it's needed and others feel it's needed. My one concern is that in doing so, when I'm suddenly going to be bombarded with a huge amount of reviewing of things that either haven't been reviewed or need to be reviewed. And so I did express the concern to Commissioner Overt at some point that I'm worried that suddenly my 80-20 ratio of criminal and civil is going to more become a 50-50, and then if that happens, I'll have some felony cases that may be sitting longer than they need to be. So I just ask for your indulgence and the indulgence of the other members of the county that on one hand, I'll be very quick and responsive because of the workload of the other matters. I may not be as quick and responsive as some would like. So.
Well, and doesn't this just enforce the law that's on the books already?
It does. Yeah. This is our practice in previous years seems to have kind of gone from that a little bit.
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
No, like I just stated before you come in, that with you here, stuff, I don't foresee any of these problems. I mean, there was no communication with the past county attorney, and that's why things just get mushrooming.
Well, I can guarantee I'm going to let you down at some point, in some way, despite my best efforts. So that day will come,
Yeah.
and when it happens, I'll do my best to fix it and apologize.
Right, no, but yeah, I've seen, you've done so much already.
I'll sit down if there's any other questions or anything else. Be available.
Does anybody from the public have a question for Cory Wise here?
close the hearing
Right.
and then
Yeah,
take it up this afternoon
right, it'll be
for a vote.
at 2 o'clock this afternoon, right, for a vote.
And I'll be back with the undersheriff at 2 to give you the update on the horse case.
Right. So, nothing else from you, Corey? You might as well go back and get with your, where you're at.
Well, look for Mr. Pressburger.
Before you're interrupted. Thank you.
How tall? Not how tall. How big is horse building?
I do. I just have a question.
Yes.
After this, resolution is passed, I assume, will I be able to get a copy of the draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. COSs, don't look like we have any COSs. So, I would say we recess until 2 o'clock.
Is that all the mail before we recess?
Well, this is the credit app for, I think this already taken care of with Howard
No,
County.
it hasn't been. It needs to be brought to the commission and the public for vote, and then be given to Ann for copies, for records.
It's an application for credit at Howard Townsend in Helena. Is there a motion to accept that?
And for which group is this for? What department?
Well, kind of, the one that come about when they called me on was detention. They were getting some floor tile or something like that. And it'd be for maintenance too.
I'll make a motion that we do sign the credit act for Power Townsend and Helena.
I'll second the motion.
Move and second, accept the application for our new credit application, Power Townsend. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
In the interest of full disclosure, I did sign this already last week. That was done with email confirmation from Commissioner Gravely. These things always need to come before the public. The reason we did it sooner is they needed the work done right there. They were working with Nick and Mike, and I understand Tammy Daly did get
Talked to me on the
Franklin's
phone,
approval
yes.
via the phone. So,
Here's a letter, fishing stuff.
This isn't Fish and Game. Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
that's quite different.
Yes, it is. And it's kind of under the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation.
This is from Fish and Game. This was they were gonna extend the public comment period on the Bighorn Sheep proposals and the boundary change, so. Yeah, I was supposed to-
Those should be read into the minutes.
The FERC is on the Fisheries Mitigation Plan, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
Take up
Pardon me?
our claims. This one here, this one with our regular claims, there's one
Mhm.
reporter for $6. We need a separate motion for that?
No, I don't know why.
It just needs a commissioner's signature in order to be submitted.
That's what I thought.
Generally, the person that approves the claims doesn't sign the claim so that there's a check and balance.
Here's one for, well, this is the heat and stuff for the ambulance building. I think before, we had a, have a motion to take that out of PILT. It's $1,429.77.
I'll make a motion that we again take it out of PILT.
Second.
We move the second, we pay for the ambulance building, and take it out, PILT 1,400.
$29.77.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Take that out of PILT.
On that subject, I talked with Debbie Ruckel today. She's gonna be going through some of the files, kind of getting rid of things that aren't needed. Mike and I worked in, he and I worked downstairs in the commission office, kind of cleaned up a little bit, got some more desks set up. And Debbie and he are gonna work on, as soon as she's at a place where she can move back here to the courthouse, we'll forward her phone, we'll just put a sign on the door, since all she's doing is referring people to other extension agents, and then she'll go through those files in our office, and that'll save us the heating costs. If you recall, the heating cost for that building is more than for this entire courthouse on a monthly basis, so that should also save us a little bit of money until we have the building done and can move extension permanently to their new home.
That makes sense.
I think so too. She asked for a couple of weeks just to go through and figure out what it is she needs to do. So,
Now when Virginia's gone now, correct?
she is, yeah, already, so,
That happened fast.
it did,
Here's
Did.
one requiring signatures is from the WWC for $257 for floodplain planning support.
That comes out of PILT also. Does it not?
It's good.
I'm not
It says
sure,
here.
I don't think so.
1,000 fund, it says.
No, 410, 110 is us, out of Commissioner's Fund.
I think floodplain coordinator comes from our account. We'll have to do a budget review. Have you guys gotten on Black Mountain? We can supervise the budget online on a daily basis if we want. Pretty
It's
incredible.
amazing.
Yeah, so we'll have to have a conversation about the budget.
Well, we still gotta decide on this here to approve this.
Right. It'll take, I'll make a motion that we take it out of the county commissions.
We
Fine.
actually don't need a motion on that, we just need a signature so it can go into the claims process.
Easy, okay, I'm signing.
Okay, but no, one of us has to sign above that.
Actually, should have been Sean Easy requester, WWC.
Should have been what?
Should have been actually Sean Haley here, WWC, as the requester.
No. Because he works for the commission.
Is that all the mail, Franklin?
That is. So
I have a question then about mail from last week and emails. Oh, I do have one claim here, also. It's your phone claim, Franklin. I did pull it out. We really do need to have you make a phone call to Verizon and do what Elaine and I already do, and that is have your phones included in order for us to pay the $20 you're requesting. I'm gonna move not to approve this claim until, and it's just for 20, you've left it blank, I don't know if you're looking to get the entire sum, but we just do 20. But
That's
you
what we've
have
always
to.
done, it's been $20, I turn in every month, like
Yeah.
everybody else does.
Okay, don't yell. I think civility needs to come first. But you need to call Verizon and tell them you want the list of your phone calls to be included, because we cannot pay this with that information being withheld. That is an obligation because you are an elected county commissioner. So I will send that back.
It should be easy enough just to call and get it.
Exactly. And then the other thing is claims from last week. We had the radio insurance claim. There's some emails that went back and forth on that. Did you learn anything new? Do you have anything further to report?
The radio,
The insurance claim on the radios from the water damage?
oh, no, other than that, Brenda had told them that when that water heater busted, it flooded a bunch of stuff in there, and a radio got wet. And she informed the insurance carrier that they don't know what there is for damage on it. And it won't be until Gary from Apple Communication is gonna be installing that radio into a search and rescue vehicle. And until that's done, they don't know what the damage is on that. And she's contacted Mako, or the insurance carrier on that and everything. I did ask about that, and that's what she said, she'd contact them, and I see that one email where they're thanking her for that information.
All right. Also, the credit card bills that disappeared from detention center. Tammy sent
I
an
just-
email on that. Any
I just
update?
talked to Tammy this morning.
Okay, we're good on that? Did they
Mhm.
get found? No late fees? Anything to report?
I don't know, let's go with that with Tammy if she has it.
Okay, I'll check with her. And then the last email was the one from Troy Benson. Did you talk to him?
No, he never contacted me.
I think you should probably respond to him since he did via email. It's in your district, you signed the
He did.
letter.
It was the commissioners, he wanted that,
It was
and you
the-
said you were gonna send that letter back. Apparently, he didn't get the letter that,
I didn't say that, no, that's your job. You signed the letter that you would follow up
it
with
was
him.
a letter that was sent out in December.
Mhm. So nothing on that?
No,
That's gonna turn into something serious if it isn't addressed. So I would
they're waiting for
just
that.
request that there be follow-up.
That, a copy of that letter be given back to me. Apparently, they don't have it.
You can get one out of the commission files and send it to him, I think that would be important. Or if you want to follow up, you can write a follow-up, but we need to respond to him.
If I can find the phone number, I'll give him a quick call and see what it is, but that's it.
What is his last name?
Benson, he's the attorney with the subdivision down on the south end that wants to be refunded back to 2005 for all his taxes. We met with Susan Swimley on that. We had a
To
couple of
go
letters
through the tax
drafted.
appeal board. Basically, that's what it is. They have to get a hold of the tax, turn it into the tax appeal board and go from there. According to that Susan.
Right, but what we did, Franklin, as you'll recall, we wrote a letter, the commission did, that the commissioner in whose district that subdivision is would follow up so that we had one point of contact with that particular attorney or subdivider. You signed the letter, it was signed solely by you, so you are the point of contact now. When he follows up and says, nobody will talk to me, what I'm wondering about is, did you respond to him? You said you'll call him, that's
I will
good,
now.
that's
I
a first step.
haven't been in contact with him at all.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to know that that'll change. I think that's important. There's an ACA training coming up in Butte, the 29th of April. I think we should go. It's the Affordable Care Act and FMLA. We have 3 employees collecting on FMLA. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's something we should definitely be up on.
What date is that in Butte?
28th of April.
And what is it?
It's also been emailed from Mako. You can go ahead and just search your emails, and I would say just put an ACA, it'll come right up to the top. But it's got the whole list, or you can just look on the website for Mako, and they've got a list of the trainings. And then the last thing, just to let you know, my phone blew up last week. Last Tuesday, I plugged in my work phone to my car, turned on my car, I heard a pop, and my phone has been dead ever since. Debbie ordered me another one, it should be in today. So if anyone tried to call me, please know that my work phone has been literally just completely blown up since
I did try
Tuesday.
to call you.
All right, well, now you know. And I'll put that on my message too, as soon as I get my phone, so that anybody knows, but, I apologize if you tried to call me.
We are in recess till 2:00.
Have to lay a copy of that. Good Anderson, we can get a copy before Friday. And we got Alan's in there, so
Thank you. Want it back?
I'll do that.
Sure.
This very second.
Pretty sure that's Alan